Last time one student asked me how you got this quadratic formula. So today let me explain the derivation of the quadratic formula. But to understand the derivation of quadratic formula, first need the completing square method. How to make a trinomial a perfect square. Completing square method means making a trinomial a perfect square. You know this identity, a square plus 2ab plus b square, you know, is a square of the binomial a plus b. So this is a perfect square because it is square of a plus b. But if you have this trinomial with the last term missing, and if you are asked what should be that last term so that this becomes a perfect square, so there is a method. You know, actually we know that it should be b square, but there is a method of finding that b square which makes this a complete perfect square. See this middle term 2ab. If this middle term is squared or multiplied twice, and if you divide it by the first 4 times the first term, this middle term multiplied 2 times, middle term multiplied with itself so as to get a square, and divided by 4 times the first term, you see this a multiplied by a square is cancelled with this. These 2 2s are 4, cancels with this 4, and what remains is b multiplied by b square. So if you add this b square here as the last term, this becomes a perfect square. Same method we use for any other trinomial. Suppose we have, say, x square plus 8x plus dash, and we want to add here a term so that this becomes a perfect square. What it should be? So the method of finding that third term so as to this becomes a perfect square is that middle term multiplied with itself divided by 4 times the first term. And we know this x will get cancelled with this x square, and this 4 1s are 4, 4 2s are 8, and 2 8s are, so what we get is 16. So if we add 16 here, this is a perfect square, and it is a perfect square of x plus 4. So this is the completing square method, adding a term so that the trinomial becomes a perfect square. Also note that we could have just used the coefficients only. Instead of using this x and x square, we could have multiplied 8 with itself, the coefficient of the middle term, x is the coefficient 8 multiplied by 8, and divided by 4 times the coefficient of the first term. This way also we could have got 16. So once you understand this part, now let me derive the quadratic formula for a quadratic equation. The quadratic formula for a quadratic equation. Let me write a quadratic formula for you just as a reminder. Quadratic formula is, goes like this. So it's nothing but the formula for finding the value of x. So suppose this is a quadratic equation and we want to derive a formula for finding the value of x. So what we do first is make this a perfect square. So what we do is shift this c on the other side. It becomes negative c. So now we have to make this a perfect square by adding a term in the third place. And we saw that our method of finding the term which we add in this place and make it a perfect square is multiply the middle term. I'll do it here as rough work. Multiply the middle term twice with itself and divide it by 4 times the first term. And so what we get here is x cancels with x square here and b with b square, and down 4 with a, 4a, b square upon 4a. So this b square upon 4a we have to add here. Now this is an equation, so we have two sides. Whatever you add on the left, you must add on the right. So I am adding b square upon 4a on both the sides. Now see 4a is in the denominator. Let's simplify this. So multiply throughout by this denominator 4a. So multiply these 3 terms and these 2 terms by 4a. If you multiply 4a with this, what we get is 4a with ax square. When you multiply 4a with a, 4a square x square we get here. Here we get 4a with bx, we will get 4abx. And when we multiply 4a here, we get b square, because 4a with this, 4a cancels, we get b square. When I multiply 4a with this, we will get 4ac. And when I multiply 4a here, I will get b square. Now we know that this is a perfect square. This is a perfect square. Okay, so that you understand properly, let me write it in that form first. You know this is 2ax the whole square. This is b square. And in the middle, I can write this, express this as 2ab, 2 times 2ax multiplied by b. 4abx is same as 2 times 2ax multiplied by b. So this is of the form a square plus 2ab plus b square. This let me write as rearrange it this way. Now we know this is a perfect square of 2ax plus b. This is 2ax plus b the whole square. See, if you expand this, you will get this one. I wrote this in this form so that you understand it is of the form, say, p square plus 2pq plus q square. This is, say, p, this is q, p square plus 2pq plus q square. The same as p plus q the whole square. Now we have square of something as b square minus 4ac, then you know that 2ax plus the base will be equal to plus or minus square root of this. let me explain this. You know that if x square is equal to 25, then x is plus or minus square root of 25, which is 5. Say x square is equal to say 7, then x will be equal to plus or minus root 7. That way, the whole square is this, then the base must be plus or minus root of b square minus 4ac. So let me take b on the other side. B, when you take the other side, it will be negative b. We have plus or minus b square minus 4ac. And so what will be the value of x? Finally, we arrive at that formula, quadratic formula. X will be equal to this divided by, take 2 this side, and this is nothing but the quadratic formula. But let me assure you that you won't get such a question of derivation of quadratic formula. This I just explained because some of the students were curious to know as to how I obtained this quadratic formula. So just to satisfy their thirst of this knowledge, how to find the quadratic formula, I have explained this. If you don't have others, those who are not interested, may just forget this. But remember this formula. For finding the roots, you have to use this formula. As to how we get the formula is not important for this board exam. Later part, what I will do is solve 2 word problems. Yes, you do have word problems of 4 marks in the board exam. So we will solve some 2 word problems and also tell you to work out from the textbook some more word problems. So that will be on the next video.